Thank you. Yes, sister.
This is my point right here. I'm that person who has been looking for that spiritual support, and I just refuse to be the person who just accepts it and don't understand it. Okay, I've been told by many people what God is about, what Muslim life is about, and I just can't accept it. Where do you go to get that acceptance, to get that understanding, so you know in yourself that you accept it, you believe it, and you can go on. There won't be any hypocrite judgment. It won't be anything like that, and you know what you're dealing with. You know it within yourself, and that's what I cannot get within a spiritual or religious thing.
Sister, you have to go within yourself. You don't go to any place to find it. See, when truth is taught, it contacts the nature of you. And the nature of you comes into agreement with that which is the essence of your nature. Sometimes truth is not readily perceived in a world that has promoted falsehood. And that's why you're not satisfied. And you shouldn't just go any place and join anything to be joining anything. That's terrible. And no preacher or teacher should teach religion in a vain way to think that if you force people with trickery to get up and accept, that's acceptance. Shaming people into accepting Christ or accepting Muhammad or accepting God. That's madness. Once you find the truth that you seek, you will know it. It just agrees with you here. And then the worst person you have to deal with, it ain't me. It isn't the neighbor. It's yourself. And when you find truth, you see, it makes you challenge yourself. It does not allow you to do evil and go unchecked in your own mind. It quickens your conscience. The Quran in the 75th surah, which is called the resurrection, it says, I swear by the self-accusing spirit. When self begins to accuse yourself to yourself, that's when you know you're getting awake morally. You don't need church to find that. God finds you where you are, and he touches you. And when you do that which you know is not right, and you starts whipping you as you lay down in your bed at night, you're on the right road. When you can do evil and you don't feel nothing, you dead. You dead. So you all right, sister. I mean, the worst thing in the world, brother, is for any religious teacher to say, join my church or my faith. If you don't have my faith, you don't have anything. See, what brother said? Look, you were born. The Bible and Quran says this, in the faith of God. You just have to live it. You got it. You just got to be it. That's why it's wrong to go here and try to persuade somebody, join your faith. Look, if you say you believe in God, so do I. But now your belief and my belief must not remain just belief. Belief must be translated into action. And when I act out my belief in God leads me to righteous conduct. And righteousness from a Muslim, righteousness from a Christian makes them brothers. They're brothers in righteousness. You know they must have the same faith because their deeds are parallel. Do you understand what I'm saying? So personally, I've learned this the hard way. No, I'm serious, I'm very serious. I learned this the hard way. As I came up as a Muslim, I came up under Malcolm. Malcolm was a very fiery teacher. What he believed, he stood on it firm. You came into the temple to hear Malcolm. He preached so hard against what you call your Christian faith. And many went out, and I believe they went to insane asylums behind condemning what people have believed all their lives. I didn't experience that. I didn't know what the Christian was going through. We heard the ministers of Islam preaching. They say, go ahead, brother. Tell it, brother. And they were telling it all right, but in a destructive way. People came to the temple. They just had eaten a pork chop. They just had some hog maw, fat back, eating a little hog brains, and came and sat down in the temple. And all of a sudden the minister took for his subject the pig. And the way he talked about the pig, you could see the person sitting in the chair. And instead of the person saying, hey man, I ain't gonna touch the pig no more if the pig is that nasty, instead of them like doing that, they say, them niggas is crazy. I'll never go near them Muslims again. So it's not the truth, it's the way truth is handled. It was mishandled. Now, I'll give you an example. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad left us, departed from us, I understood for the first time the meaning of what it's like to have your faith crushed. Because the man that I believed in was so cruelly handled that many went into insane asylums because they couldn't handle the way the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was being spoken of. And I suffered that pain. And as I suffered that pain, I began to learn how to represent God in a better manner. And I said, I will not do that to another human being as long as I live. I will attempt not to persuade them to my faith, but to persuade them to live the faith that is their own. Do you understand? Now, what do I mean? Now, any Muslim in here say, well, that's not a true Muslim. If he's a true Muslim, he will persuade them to live Islam. But wait a minute. If Islam is the natural religion of man, then they have that faith by nature. Look, you were born with faith in God. Did you know that? You weren't born an atheist. You were born believing in a higher power. Oh, I don't believe that. Tell me, show me how. Yes, ma'am. When you came out of your mother's womb, right? The Quran says we knew nothing. Instinctively, though, we hoped for something. How do I know? Immediately we prayed. How did we pray? When you pray to God, if you are taught to pray this way, right? Some Christians pray this way. Muslims may pray in a dua this way or with varying positions of prayer, right? This is a grown-up way of asking Allah or God for blessings. How does a baby pray? And as that baby cries, somebody hears its prayer. It has a need, and the only way it expresses its need is in a cry. So mama said, baby is hungry. So she takes the baby and puts the baby on her breast, and immediately the baby, 1 day old, starts doing what? Drawing on that nipple. Why? It have hope that something is in there, brother. Is that right? Now look. Hey. Now you know what that is? It is, no, I'm not playing. That's not a game at all. That baby is not disappointed. If it puts its mouth on your breast, mother, that baby is not disappointed. Its hope is not lost or in vain. It draws on your nipple, and milk is there that God allowed to be produced in your breast while your baby was being produced. The food for your baby was already being produced by a beneficent creator, huh? So when that baby drew on the milk and cooed in satisfaction, That's what makes you grow up and hope that there is a way out when things get dark, that you can keep on going. That's a grown-up faith, a mature faith. And that's why Jesus kept saying to the disciples, "Oh, ye of little faith," you got to grow up now, because if you got the faith that you had when you drew on the nipple, you could get out of the boat and walk on the water, Peter. You could say to the mountain, "Be removed." You could say to the forces of oppression, "I will overcome." Not sing it, but do it. That's faith. And that was born in you. And it was born in you to be grateful and to give after you receive. And that's why you learn to coo and to show little signs of gratitude to your mother. It is only as you grow older in a different environment of a crazy world that you take and you don't give thanks. But as a baby, you gave thanks in a very special way, because that's your nature. And all I'm saying is I don't have to change your faith, but I just call you to live out the faith that God created in your nature. And if you do it and I do it and we do it, we will walk together, not as brothers, but we will be brothers. See? Thank you, sister. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, sister.
And I believe that we live in a society with very red black men. And I believe that this is one of the tools you do this. One example that my main concern is that I walk into certain black areas, I can see 10 storefront churches on one block. To me, that only represents the vision of our people. Also represents ministers or religious leaders whom we respect, going after their own set of power. How do you have if I'm wrong, correct, and how do you bring them together as those 10 storefront churches as one strong body, one strong church, and one strong people?
Your question is profound. Let me give it to you. Sister says, we live in a society that's geared to destroy the black man. I believe that religion is one of those tools that is used to destroy us. For example, if you go into the ghetto, you find 10 churches on 10 different corners, 10 preachers teaching 10 different doctrines, or maybe the same doctrine. How do we get one church instead of 10 and maximize rather than minimize? She didn't use those terms, but I think that's what she meant. Now, sister, I'm going to take the first part of what you said is actually absolutely right. This society is geared to the destruction of the black man. True. Religion has been and is a tool to facilitate that destruction. True. Now, how is religion used to facilitate that destruction? Is that the intention of God? Or is that the design of man? God gives you the grape. You can eat grapes all day long, you won't get drunk. But let man mess with the grape. And he gives you back what God gave you in a pure state. He gives it back to you in an impure state, and now you're drunk. God gives you organs of sex. And then we take that and make mischief with it. That's not his doing. Religion is necessary, but improper religion is unnecessary. these same Caucasians who rule the world wouldn't be where they are today if it were not for a prophet by the name of Moses. They were brought out of the hills and cave sides of Europe by listening to a prophet and following divine religion in its right state. Now, I must respectfully say that what has been given to us in the name of Jesus is not necessarily Jesus' teaching. And that is why there is so much division, because we don't have understanding of what is being given to us in the name of religion. So it is with Islam. Now let's deal with the nature and character of men. There are certain men who have vain desires: power, wealth, fame, honor, and there are means to achieve that end. Some will take the path of becoming profound in their particular discipline. Some will go into sport, some will go into music, and some will go into religion. Now, there are those who are in religion who are sincerely desirous of serving God, and by serving God, that means serving man in God's way. But then there are others who say they're serving God, but are serving their own vain self-interests. And they use religion as a cover for their wickedness. And that's why it's so dangerous with religion. Religion is more deadly than any other thing that a person can use, because people love God. And therefore, if you want to get a game over, the quickest way to get it over is by using God's name. And that's why Jesus said, watch as well as pray. Test the spirits, because in this day you should let no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name. It's already written that this is going to happen. And so if we see it happening, we can't say that the prophets lied, but our place in it is, how are we going to escape from being deceived? Then he says, my sheep know my voice, a stranger they will not follow. Now, if you're the sheep of God, you will know his voice. If you are not, you will follow that which tickles your ears. This is a day of manifestation and separation. We will never be able to get one church, not until after wickedness is totally destroyed from the face of the earth. You can't afford to love everybody, not in this world. The world that you should love everybody in is the world to come. In this world, there's right, there's wrong, there's good, there's evil, there's truth, there's falsehood, there's justice, there's injustice, there's slavery, and there's freedom. If you love freedom, you got to hate slavery. If you love God, you hate the devil. If you love truth, you hate falsehood. No man can serve two masters. He got to love one, hate the other. That's your book. And what happens with us is, see, we don't like being cast in the valley of decision where we've got to choose. We wish that all could, all of you ought to come together. It ain't going, see, that's too easy. It ain't going to happen that way. You're not going to get Jesse together with this one and that one. You're just not going to get these old big time leaders together. No. Because some are preaching for Satan. Some ain't for God at all, man. They are jive turkeys. And they're not coming together. God is going to leave them out there. And if you will, Join on to whoever you will, and by whoever you join on to, you are known. Because you ain't going to follow nobody but what you yourself are. I'm telling you, this is a serious day. So look, God is trying us by putting all of this out here. And in the midst of this, there are righteous teachers who are calling people to a right way of life. And you can call it religion, but you can call it religion, but it's not religion. It's your nature. And when you are called to your nature and fight it, you destroy yourself. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't asking us to do wrong to nobody. He was saying, do right. Right is your nature, and only in right can you be successful. And I'm telling you, brother and sister, you don't have to wear right, put your Quran on, put your Bible on, and walk around sanctimonious looking. That ain't right. Right is being right. It's the quality and act of being in accord with truth and the propriety of time. And if you recognize that, as brother pointed out to me, a mistake that I made in the manner of my representation of truth, it was nothing for me to do. If I wanted to justify it, I would be a sinner before God and my brother. But if I humble myself and say thank you and forgive me, see, then the Spirit of God in your nature said, brother's all right. See, I mean, it's a natural thing. I mean, religion ain't contrived, but contrived religion is dangerous. So, I mean, look, you are in the valley of decision. All of us are. And by the choices that you make, you tell the world who and what you are. Please don't fear religion. Fear that which is contrived as religion that is not.